He hit send, and everything that followed wasn't supposed to happen. One message, 4 simple words, and a chain reaction he would never see coming. This isn't a crime story. It's a story about small choices, tiny decisions, moments that look harmless until they aren't. The man behind the message lived an ordinary life, quiet job, routine days, nothing unusual. He typed without thinking, the way we all do. A simple instruction meant for a friend. Meet me outside now. He didn't double-check the number. He didn't even notice the last digit was wrong. His phone buzzed. The message was delivered, but not to the person he intended. He didn't think about it again. Not then, but someone else did. A reply came back. Short, confused, almost nervous. The man didn't recognize the number, so he ignored it. But the person who received the message didn't ignore his. They read, "Meet me outside now," and took it seriously, too seriously, because panic does strange things to people. The message was forwarded first to a friend, then to someone else. A tiny digital snowball beginning to roll, gathering speed, the kind of misunderstanding that grows arms and legs before anyone can stop it. Someone on the other end misread the tone. They thought something was happening, something urgent, something dangerous, so they acted. Quickly, recklessly, they left their house, got into their car, started driving. One wrong number turned into one very real chain of movement. Meanwhile, the man who sent the text had no idea he was making lunch, checking emails, living his life. But someone else was already in their car, holding their phone in one hand, rereading the message, trying to decide if they were too late or not late enough.
A photo went up online. A blurry shot of a hallway, nothing sinister, nothing dramatic. Just a quick picture uploaded without context. But people online rarely need context. They create their own. Someone recognized the hallway, assumed something was happening there. They messaged another friend. That friend messaged 2 more. It's strange how fear spreads faster than truth. At this point, dozens of people had seen the message. Strangers, confused friends of friends. People who believed they were helping. People who believed something urgent was unfolding right now. Someone shared their location. Someone else checked a camera feed from outside their home. Another person posted a screenshot, not maliciously, just trying to figure out what was going on. But the internet reacts faster than people can think, and rumors move much faster than reality. One car took a wrong turn. Another car pulled out too quickly. Someone braked when they shouldn't have. Someone else didn't brake fast enough. No violence, no attack, no weapon, just a collision. An accident caused by rushed decisions and misunderstood urgency. A life was lost, quietly, tragically, all from a message that never meant anything. And the man who sent it still had no idea. He didn't know there was a panic. He didn't know his wrong number was spreading through group chats. He didn't know someone was driving fast because of words he typed without thinking. When news broke about an accident on the east side of town, he barely glanced at the headline. He didn't connect it to himself. Why would he? But later that night, he opened his phone. He scrolled through his messages, and he saw it. A message thread he didn't recognize, his own words staring back at him. "Meet me outside now," followed by replies from strangers. Dozens. Some asking if he was safe, some asking if they should call someone, some sending blurry photos, trying to confirm locations. Messages filled with urgency he never intended. The deeper he scrolled, the worse it became. People coordinating, guessing, reacting, spiraling. He clicked through the forwarded chains. He followed the trail. Screenshot after screenshot. Reactions stacked on reactions. Assumptions stacked on assumptions. Until he found the moment that made his stomach drop. A stranger, in a group chat he'd never seen, wrote, "I'm heading there now." And 5 minutes after that message, another person shared the news article about the accident. He stared at the screen, frozen, silent. His mind replayed everything, the moment he typed the text, the moment he pressed send, the moment he noticed nothing unusual and continued his day. He didn't hurt anyone. He didn't touch anyone. He didn't even know the victim. All he did was misdial a phone number. But that was enough. Enough to start a rumor. Enough to trigger panic. Enough to move one person into their car at the worst possible minute. He whispered to himself, barely audible, "Did I cause this?" He wanted the answer to be no. He wanted to believe it had nothing to do with him. He wanted to close the message thread and erase the guilt with it. But the chain was there, clear, undeniable, step after step leading from his careless message to a stranger's rushed decision, to a moment on the road that would never be undone. He didn't commit a crime. He didn't intend harm. He didn't know what his message would become. But intention and result don't always match. And consequences don't care about who meant what. He kept scrolling. One detail caught his eye, something small, something he hadn't noticed before. A tiny clue in one of the photos someone uploaded. A sticker, barely visible, barely meaningful. But it changed everything. And that is where the real story begins. The sticker was small, a cheap logo on the edge of a photo. A yellow circle with a faded icon. At first, it looked like nothing, but he stared longer. He blew it up, rotated the image. Not many stickers use that shade of yellow. He searched the logo. It matched a local delivery company. Not the big names, a small courier that serviced one neighborhood. The sticker placed the photo in a very specific place. That change in location altered everything. Because the person who posted the photo wasn't random. They were connected to the delivery route. And delivery routes have schedules. They have drivers. Drivers who follow routes, sometimes impatient, sometimes late. He traced the chain again. From his text, to the wrong number, to the forwarded messages, to the photo, to the sticker. From the sticker to a delivery receipt. From the receipt to a timestamp. From the timestamp to a dashcam clip uploaded by a driver. The dashcam showed a stretch of road, a curve, a narrow lane with a blind rise. The footage was grainy, the sun was low, visibility poor for a moment. A vehicle rounded the curve. Another vehicle was already on it. Brakes, a swerve, a small skid. The sequence lasted seconds, seconds that changed everything. He watched the clip 12 times. He watched it until the numbers on his screen blurred. He watched it until he recognized the turn the other car took. He recognized the driveway. He recognized the sticker on the bumper of the car that passed. It matched the same yellow circle. One driver had been late to a stop. They were trying to make up time. A friend had sent a message that made them hurry. That message came from a chain that began with his wrong number. It was not a straight line of causation. People made choices. Chance met timing. A tiny logo made it possible to connect dots others had missed. He felt sick, not from guilt alone, from the inevitability of how small things collide. A misdial, a forwarded panic, a hurried driver, a blind corner. He called the courier company. An operator answered, polite, tired. He asked about routes. He asked if anyone had been behind schedule that afternoon. They checked logs. They checked GPS pings. Yes, one driver had a delayed stop at 12:27. Yes, the GPS showed a route that passed the curve at 12:36. He asked stupid questions. Could a delay push someone to speed? Could a message make someone hurry? The operator was careful with words. She said the system only records locations, not intentions. He was not the only person pulling threads that night. Other people traced the chain too. Online sleuths pieced together screenshots. They mapped routes. They compared timestamps. They debated. They theorized. Some blamed the courier. Some blamed the person who posted the photo. Some blamed the driver who made a decision in a fraction of a second. Some blamed the man who had typed a casual line into his phone. People wanted a villain. That is human. It is simpler to point than to understand. He read the comments. He saw the accusations. He saw the empathy. He saw the anger. Some comments said he should be arrested. Others said it was an accident. And many said nothing at all. The family of the person who died posted a short message. They did not shout. They did not dramatize. They wrote about loss, about a life cut short, about details that mattered only to them. A favorite song, a dog, a habit of drinking black coffee. The man pressed his thumbs to his temples. He could not unsend a message. He could not unsend a day. He could only look at the trace he had left and try to understand how to live with it. He reached out to the police. They were professional. They accepted his information. They noted the wrong number. They logged the forwarded messages. They examined timelines. They treated the evidence like evidence. Legally, they said, what he did was not a crime. It was a tragic link in a chain, a contributing factor in an accident that involved choices by multiple people, not sufficient for charges against him. That answer did not settle his mind. Law and conscience are rarely identical. He met weeks later with the family. It was awkward, polite, heavy, human. They talked about the person they lost. They talked about funerals and flowers and photographs. They did not talk about blame at first. They talked about memory. At some point, a family member said quietly, "We don't want another family to live like this. If there's a lesson, tell it." He heard the plea as both mercy and punishment. It asked him to act, to not be paralyzed by guilt, to do something useful with the terrible sequence of events he had set in motion. So he did. He joined community forums about digital etiquette. He spoke about forwarding messages without checking. He worked with the courier company to flag risky scheduling patterns. He helped fund a small awareness campaign about checking info before sharing. He met with an app developer who was building a feature to warn users who frequently forwarded messages into large groups. None of it brought back the person who died. None of it erased the images he had watched on loop, but it did channel his remorse into action. Months later, at a small community event, he watched a short PSA play on a loop. It showed a phone screen, a message bubble. It taught a simple step: verify before you forward. People clapped after the video, not loudly, just politely. The man sat in the back and felt something like relief. Not absolution, not forgiveness, but movement. A small change. He still wakes sometimes with the image of that dashcam clip in his head. He still scrolls through the thread occasionally. He still wonders where exactly the line between responsibility and accident lives. The story became a cautionary tale online. People shared it as a lesson. Some used it to shame. Some used it to teach. It lodged into the Internet's memory as a short parable about small choices. He never intended harm. He never wanted a life to end. But intention did not undo the result. In the quiet of his apartment, he placed his phone face down. He stopped checking messages every few minutes. He began to live deliberately in small ways. He double-checked numbers. He paused before forwarding. He thought briefly about the weight of a casual line. Sometimes the smallest thing becomes the hinge of a story. A sticker, a wrong digit, a hurried foot, a life altered by an unseen chain. He learned to live with that hinge, not by forgetting, but by remembering with purpose. And when people ask him now, years later, if he feels guilty, he answers honestly. Yes, he says. He feels the weight. He carries it like ballast. But he also says this: if one small act of remorse can change a few habits, possibly save a life, then it is worth the cost of regret. He keeps the message on his phone, not as a confession, not as a trophy, but as a reminder of how words travel, of how hurried acts can ripple. The last line of his statement, when asked by reporters, was simple. "Be careful with small things," he said, "because small things sometimes do the most damage." And the phone in his pocket was silent. If you're still watching this, congratulations. You've officially survived a story that ends with a chill you can't shake off. But listen, most people will click away now. Only the smart ones, the curious ones, the ones who don't want to end up in a story like this. They stay. So, if that's you, hit subscribe. Not for me, for your own safety. Because the next story, yeah, you really shouldn't watch alone. But you will, and when you do, I'll be here. Subscribe before something else finds you first.